All right, we are going to go ahead and kick off tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who is joining us online, and thank you so much to our panelists for joining us. For those of you who I don't know yet, my name is Sarah Greysdorf, and I'm the founder of Holdette, and I'm so excited to get to have you all here for this amazing second event in our launch week. And for those of you who don't know, we're celebrating the launch of our first line of women's suits, which have 8 functional pockets, so enough for your phone and your wallet and a couple of snacks. And you can see the full calendar for our launch week at holdette.com/launch week, as well as enter our launch week giveaways. And I encourage you to support our growing small business by following us on Instagram or LinkedIn, or you can check out our budding TikTok presence. And as you all know, we are here to talk about 2021 styles and trends, and I'm going to give our panelists a chance to introduce themselves. Katie, why don't you start us off?
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here tonight. My name is Katie Demo. I am the CEO and co-founder of Brass. We're at Brass Clothing on Instagram. And Brass is a women's clothing brand. We're based in Boston, and we're all about helping women sort of simplify and streamline their wardrobes. We make mostly business casual pieces, wardrobe staples, pieces that, you should be turning to several times per week. And not only that, we also offer our customers a community called the Brass Guild, which is, I like to think of it as a slightly older Holdette community. And a lot of the women in our community are new moms. They are career oriented, and we spend a lot of time in our community talking about sort of how our clothing can support us in the million things that we're doing in a day.
Awesome. Love that comparison, and flattered on behalf of the Holdette community. Robin, why don't you go next?
Of course. So my name is Robin Mangano. I'm the founder of Wave Collective. So we are a Boston-based full-service communication agency. So that means that we do public relations, social media, content creation, and influencer marketing. Tonight, my main focus for just anything that I'm talking about is really around our work for Primark. So Primark is their US headquarters are based here in Boston, and we do everything for them for social, whether that's strategy, pulling product in their stores, styling all of the clothes for photography and videography, and then full social media management. And then the other arm of our business is that we represent about 20 to 30 influencers, and across all different industries, but most of them focus on fashion and style and lifestyle. So we get this really great 360-degree perspective where we work with a lot of brands to work with influencers, but we also represent influencers, so we know what brands are looking for as well.
Amazing. And I encourage you all to tune in tomorrow to the Holdette Instagram account. Robin is going to be taking us behind the scenes on one of their Primark fashion shoots. So definitely join us for that. And awesome. And Sydney.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Sydney Rubin. I am the evening wear buyer for Rent the Runway. For those of you who are not familiar with Rent the Runway, we are a rental platform that offers subscription and one-off rentals of designer accessories and clothing.
Awesome. So we are going to go ahead and dive into our little presentations about what we see coming up in 2021. And we're going to go ahead and get started with Katie.
Sounds good. So let's start a little bit with 2020. I wanted to actually start and just give you guys a quick little background of why I started Brass, because it is a online clothing brand that actually came from a direct need that I was having myself right around, it was a few years after I graduated from college, but I wanted to tell you guys the story because I thought maybe some of you guys might be relating to it at some point. When I was a few years out of college, like I said, I was working at a shoe and accessories retailer, and it was a small company in Boston, and I was working as the marketing manager and had a pretty significant gap in age between me and all of the director level other people at the company. But I was really interested in this marketing director position and felt like I really needed to like look the part in order to have the seat at the table and feel really comfortable with people who are, 20 years older than me, et cetera. And so I went through this sort of transformation with my wardrobe, or I at least started to transform my wardrobe, and sort of picking out the sort of the poorly made pieces that I had been buying, sort of cheaply, and wanting to really start to upgrade my wardrobe and invest in pieces that I could feel really good in, feel really like leveled up, and basically sort of go to over and over again. And I was having a really hard time doing that because it felt like, am I going to buy this theory dress or am I going to pay my rent? And so the idea in starting Brass was to give women the opportunity to buy theory caliber clothing at a, more affordable price tag. And that was sort of like the level of why we started the company. And from there, it really grew. And the women that we were meeting who had these similar needs, we found them to all really sort of like have this these underlying interests. They're sort of kindred spirits. And we thought, these women who are attracted to Brass, they should all meet. They should all sort of come together. And so we decided to create this Facebook group. It started with 10 women, and now there's over 2,500 in the group. And they're, working, like I said, sort of in my introduction, working women, really career oriented, want their clothes to serve them, that type of thing. And so for the first 5 years of the company, we were making clothes for these women for their careers. And we were thinking, how do we make a blazer that is machine washable, and that so they don't have to go to the dry cleaner all the time? And how do we make clothes that are wrinkle resistant so that they can get the kids ready for daycare, drop them off, get in the car, go to, all the things that women are doing. How do we serve them and make their lives easier? And so when we started 2020, our product plan was really to continue serving her in that way, to continue finding great machine washable materials, to find, simple streamlined pieces that you can mix and match and wear a million different ways. And very soon, obviously, when the pandemic hit, our customers' life changed completely. And she, we were serving her, like I kind of was saying before, we built this business around her, her career, and really kind of started it out of a need for great career clothes. So when we were sort of forced to really alter our plan this year and quickly make pivots and changes, we went back to her. We went back to her in the community and asked her, what's your life like right now? Are you on Zoom for, 10 hours a day? Are you teaching your kids, and also trying to work? What do you need from us? And it was really, it really reinforced to me how critical our community has been in helping us build our brand. Because where, it might from a distance might have looked like we were just a clothing brand that they were buying their work clothes from, it was so, if you're, in the guilds or, paying more close attention to the brand, you can see that this company was really just built to serve her in whatever she's doing and wherever she is, whether she's in an office or not. So turning to her and asking her what she was doing with her life, where she was working, was really a critical part of helping us get through the pandemic, because it was hard. We were a small business that was making business casual clothing. So thankfully, because we're small, we were nimble enough to really shift our product plans pretty quickly, so that by September, we launched our first line of what we call our Zoom tops. So these are our, they're novelty knits that look really nice on camera. They just have small details that kind of pick up nicely on a Zoom call. So it makes you look like you're, a little bit more dressed up without looking like you're wearing a button down and a blazer, because most people are not wearing button downs and blazers when they're just normally at home. So we basically spent the first half of the year sort of being like, what the heck is happening, talking to our customers. And now we have really shifted our strategy towards, tops that are more comfortable, that look great on Zoom, bottoms that have a lot of stretch. But the thing that I keep coming back to is that our mission has not changed. We're still here to serve our woman, and that's really going to be our North Star and our guiding light going forward. So I think that's a good start. I can let someone else go, and we can talk about it a little bit more later.
Amazing. And I think that your commitment to relying on your community to shape your brand is, exactly what we're trying to do here at Holdette as well. So looking at you, people watching this live stream. Amazing. All right. So we're going to move on to Robin. If you want to go ahead and share your screen, Robin, we can kick things off.
Yeah, of course. So let me see if I can do this. Yes. So like I was saying when I introduced myself, we are a multi-service agency, but for tonight's discussion, I really wanted to focus on trends that we are seeing for social media content creation and influencer marketing, and have it be a little bit more fashion and style focused. Our agency works with a variety of different companies, whether it's in the health and nutrition field, whether it's, a consumer product good that you would find at your grocery store. But I wanted to focus more so on style and what I think people would be interested in this evening. So a little bit different. I want to kind of go over some of the trends that we've been seeing that we might think could be helpful for everyone. And this is what we're looking forward to for 2021. And some of these things we've already started implementing. So I think our first trend is 100% absolutely video. We've really seen in 2020 the launch, or not the launch, but the rise of TikTok. It, I think, was literally the winner of the pandemic. I think it just user downloads month to month. It was the top most downloaded app every single month for all of 2020. That shows us that people are really still interested in TikTok, video. People obviously have been interested in YouTube for so long, but this really quick digestible video has been, I think, a key savior in people's attentions over the past few months. But what we've been doing is taking this and also implementing it on Instagram. So Instagram has been trying to compete with TikTok. So as I'm sure a lot of you have known, that's why they rolled out IG Reels. And so what we have been doing on our end for both our influencers and the brands that we work with has been rolling out Instagram Reels. We've seen massive growth on our accounts from the moment we started creating this type of content and publishing it. And it could be simply, showing how to wear a scarf 5 different ways, or showing a look under $100, or showing a really fun transitional video where you're in loungewear and you kick the camera and the next second you're in like a full workwear look. So trend number 1, absolutely video. Trend number 2, this is actually more so focused on how we tell our influencers to work with brands, and it's diving into what we call these capsule collections. What we've just seen in the last year, and it keeps on growing every year, is that influencers are, really starting to grow their interest in where the brand products are made, the sustainability factor, the production, the social responsibility, and then working with that brand on an ongoing basis. I think influencer marketing used to be a lot of one-off collaborations, and we have found that when you as a brand work with an influencer on an ongoing collaboration, and then you guys work together even more closely and create, let's say, a capsule collection together, that really kind of brings your two audiences together and just has a more organic and real, partnership that I think for the brand will help sell their product a lot better. The next trend, and this has just been on the rise, honestly, from 2019 to 2020 to this year, is just the continued rise of working with micro-influencers. Obviously, you have macro and celebrities who have these massive, massive followings, but those massive followings come at a very high price. So when you're a brand and you want to launch an influencer campaign, if you want to work with that one celebrity, it's probably going to cost, let's say, a celebrity with 3 million followers is probably going to ask at minimum $30,000 for one Instagram post. And that could be your entire budget as a brand for an influencer campaign. If you're a much smaller brand, that might not even be in the picture. So working with micro influencers who have very tried and true followings, who are really interested in what they're promoting. And then what that does is, let's say you work with 20 influencers. You now get 20 pieces of content that your team can leverage and cross promote on your own social channels. As a brand, production of content is very expensive. So if you can have your influencers do that work for you, that's absolutely a win-win. Plus, they're obviously bringing awareness to your brand on their social channels. The next trend, I said this in our trend one, but I want to kind of give it its own silo, but TikTok, absolutely insane what it has done for brands this year. It has literally created influencers overnight, and I am just in awe by this platform. But what we do as a social media brand manager for our client Primark is we'll often go and look at TikTok for inspiration. We'll look at what's trending, whether it's a certain makeup look, or it's a combat boot, or it's, showing again, like your look under $10 or your recent store haul. And we'll take and find those trends that we see are doing really well, and we'll create that content, but then post it on Instagram Reels. Because as a brand, you also don't want to spread yourself out too thin and try to conquer every single social media app that's out there. But so many people are on TikTok these days that they will probably see and understand a TikTok trend that you're recreating on Instagram Reels. And I would say what's really great about our agency is because since we're very small and nimble, we can literally see a trend on TikTok, walk into the store the next day, buy that product, shoot it, and then have it up on the client's channel in 2 days. And so that's what's so important, is that quick turnaround. A TikTok trend really only lasts maybe a week, and then people move on to the next trend. So for this, you really have to be on top of trying to recreate those trends in real time. And then I probably should have started with this one because it is absolutely the most important of them all, but just diversity and inclusion. I think we saw that through 2020, that there has been such a lack in diversity and inclusion through a lot of brand partnerships. And I know from brands, top to bottom, that's their number one goal across every single thing that they're doing. So we have to be really cognizant when we're building out any type of social media campaigns, when we're working with brands to partner with influencers, that we're making sure that this is a top priority. And that's it.
That was absolutely wonderful. Robin, thank you so much for sharing. And I think that was the push that you needed to get on TikTok if you weren't already. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to Cindy. If you want to go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, let's get this going. Okay, share screen. Let me just present. Okay, so first I just wanted to take a second to give you a little bit more of a background of what it is that I do. So like I said, I am the special occasion evening wear buyer for Rent the Runway. I also manage the plus size inventory. And for those of you who don't know Rent the Runway, it is that rental model where we, give our customers access to designer goods, which is amazing at the price point, at a fraction of the price actually. And if it's a subscription, it's way less than buying. I did want to, actually I'm coming up on my 6-year anniversary at Rent the Runway, which is very exciting. It's crazy to think it's been that long, but it's been quite a ride, and I've seen the company go through so many different changes and so much growth, and it's just been a really fun, awesome environment to be a part of. And what I wanted to do was kind of just dive into what a buyer is, if some of you were wondering. It does seem, sometimes people think it is like a very glamorous, fun job, and it can be at times, but also it's it's a hard job too, and you have to make sure you're on top of all of the industry trends. And I wanted to call out a couple of the points that are very specific to buying at Rent the Runway. So the first thing about being a buyer, so my major job function is to make the purchasing decisions using knowledge of industry trends, customer demand, and performance analysis. So, there is, you have to have an analytical skill set as well. It's not just about the fun fashion trends. And with that, it's really my job to bring on the exciting, amazing inventory that our customers are going to need and want for the site. So the first thing that I want to touch on is our brand matrix. As a buyer, we want to make sure that we have the most coveted brands on site. So when our customers come to rent from us, we have exactly what they're looking for, brands that maybe they normally can't afford or have access to. They're able to come to Rent the Runway and find something that they need and love and that they've been wanting. So that's the first important thing. The next thing is trend forecasting. So I typically buy about 6 months before we receive the product. So it's really important for me to stay on top of trends and know, what's going to be the hot style, the hot item, hot brand, coming up in 6 months. So coming up in February, I'm about to go into market for fall 21, believe it or not. So, we're in fall 20-ish right now, and I'm thinking, a year ahead. And just kind of, thinking about what those trends will be. So I'm on Instagram, I'm watching the runway shows, I am on TikTok. Robin, I'm glad that you called it out, because TikTok is huge for us right now, it's really exciting to see what's new and different. And then the next thing is development opportunities. So this is really different than any traditional retailer because going on to RTR operations, we are a rental model. So we need to make sure that we're bringing in inventory that will withhold all of our operations and dry cleaning, because we dry clean all items after they come back from a customer. So we handle all of the dry cleaning and shipping and all of that. So we want to make sure that when we bring something on, the product can withhold those dry cleanings and it's a durable fabric, and we're making sure we're not bringing in delicate embellishments and things like that. So I've really perfected my craft in durable fabrics over my 6 years here. And because of that, I've been able to develop into certain products with my designer partners, and I'm very thankful for the amazing relationships that I've been able to build so that we can go into voids that I'm not finding in the market. If I need, a really cool sequin top and it's not out there, I can work with my designer partners to create that, which is really fun. And then the last thing is new category launches. So, there was a time where Rent the Runway did only offer dresses for one-off rentals for weddings and galas. And we've really grown and expanded our category assortment, which is very amazing, where we offer everything now from workwear to weekend wear, night out, of course, wedding and gala attire, but also kids inventory and even home with our partnership with West Elm. So the possibilities are endless, and I'm very excited to see what the future brings. And then these are just some photos of me and some of my favorite rentals. Okay, so I wanted to talk about spring trends, and I'm really touching on the fashion trends for 2021, but mainly for spring. But when we look at 2021 in general, I kind of wanted to look at it in 2 parts. And, what I'm saying right now is kind of wishful thinking. This is like the perfect scenario, but I think we need to split the year in half. So we need to look at spring and summer, which is basically now up until June, July. And, we're still, society is still dealing with and recovering from the virus, and, vaccines are starting to be rolled out, but people are still working from home, events are still canceled, people are being safe, sheltering in place. So, there isn't really much need for celebration at the moment. So I think there is going to be a major focus on versatility and comfort in our dressing. There definitely was a casualization of the market, and many designers were very conservative with their spring collections just because we were uncertain of where the world would be at this time. I do think that we're going to see some redefined trends that we've seen in the past, but just redefined in a new way. And I'm going to get into more detail in the spring 21 trends after this slide, so you can see what I'm calling out. But also, I think there's going to be a lot of like bright, fun prints too as the weather warms up. I think the customer out there, they want to celebrate fashion because they haven't worn it for so long. So they're going to be interested in like the bright florals and the fun prints and kind of like testing out, their fashions. And then when we get into fall and holiday for fall 21, I like to think of this as celebration central, and I'm crossing my fingers because this is wishful thinking, like I said, but obviously we don't have a crystal ball, but history typically repeats itself, and I'm predicting a major celebration moment come holiday season 2021, something that's reminiscent of the Roaring 20s era after the Spanish flu. So let's hope we can get this virus under control and people feel comfortable leaving their homes. But I do think that this is a time when a lot of weddings are going to be rescheduled, gatherings are going to happen, people are going to want to celebrate, and there's all this like pent up demand where you want to just go out there and just have fun and see people, and you want to celebrate fashion and experiment with new trends and maybe try that sequin bustier or tight dress and feathers, so I think there's going to be a little bit more fashion experimentation, so we'll see. But next, I just wanted to get into some of these spring 21 trends that I'm calling out for this season. And these are trends that you will see on Rent the Runway, and they also have been on the fashion runways in general. So the first trend is the strong shoulder. This is actually one of my favorite trends. I love a good strong shoulder. I think it just makes me feel very sophisticated and confident. Strong shoulders have always played a pivotal role in fashion and have become enticingly more popular in the last few seasons. And it's really a paradox of trends that incorporates the masculine silhouettes in a feminine way. So you'll see this trend focused in your everyday casual t-shirts and tank tops for an added edge, but you'll also see it incorporated in like your flowy maxi dresses with a puff sleeve. So there's many different ways that you can test out this trend, and here are just a few examples that I've seen out there that I think are pretty cool. The next trend is, no surprise here, leisure wear and set dressing. I don't know if we're all sick of this yet, but I think we have a little bit more time with our leisure wear. This trend has really been a new focus in the fashion community for this past year, and it's really drawing attention to staying comfortable in style. It highlights everything from your stretch fabrics, your tie-dyes, your terry cloth, PJs, even your activewear sets that have become huge in trend dressing. And I think, the versatile twist about this trend is that it's not just for indoors, but it actually can be worn outdoors. You can pair with other trends. People wear their trench coats and their sneakers and their baseball caps, and they're making it like a really cool, edgy look that has become very popular. And then another trend along the line with set dressing is this like cardigan bra top pairing. We've seen it in this past fall kind of rise up in popularity, and I do think it's going to be back in a bigger way come spring 21. These are just some cool ways that I've seen it worn, but keep your eye out for it because I think you're going to see it on a lot of influencers and celebrities. The next trend is the house dress. So this is a trend that I'm actually really excited about because literally anyone can wear it. It's shapeless, it's comfortable, it's chic. This trend takes loungewear into a core item for one of the most comfortable to wear silhouettes. So it's really perfect for those smoldering hot summer days, but yet you still look put together. And there truly is nothing easier to wear, and you can dress it up or down with your accessories. So you can pair it with a sandal, bracelets, a bunch of necklaces to dress it up, and you can have a really chic put together look with very minimal effort. And these are just some cool house dresses that I've found in my looks. Okay, so the next one is summer whites. So summer whites, no surprise. I mean, this is a classic trend that tends to rise to popularity in the warmer months, even though people are wearing white year round now, and there's nothing wrong with that. The Paris runways also confirmed that the white dress would be our uniform for next summer. So there's many different ways to wear it. Obviously, a simple white dress. You can pair it with bold accessories to add pops of color. Separates dressing is really fun, but another way that you can incorporate whites, which is in my last trend that I'm actually really excited to experiment with, is this idea of monochrome styling. So this is where, you're playing with styling using one color as your main focus, and then you're kind of accessorizing and building upon that color. And these are a couple of items or a couple of images where these shots have really done the monochrome styling well. And I think it's important to play with complementary shades of that color and different textures as well. So, if gray is your color, maybe add in like a silver sequin touch somewhere just to add some dimension to your look. And those are some of the main trends that I'm calling out.
That was so incredibly informative. I feel so much more ready to take on the next year, and I'm optimistic that we'll be wearing all of those things and not, well, I guess we could be wearing sweatpants, but then we'd have the matching sweatshirt. I was listening.
Exactly.
That was amazing. All right, so we're going to dive into some questions for our panelists, and if you all have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll definitely weave them in. So to kick things off, we talked a little bit about what we expect to kind of happen next year. Curious if there's any kind of main trends, and we started to touch on this a little bit, but that kind of came out of 2020 that you think are going to stick around for a while. I mean, obviously it was a pretty weird year, but I think, notable nonetheless. And Sydney, why don't we keep going with you?
Yeah, so some of the trends, I mean, I think I kind of touched on them a little bit, but definitely the strong shoulder and the leisure wear set dressing. I think that's going to be a really huge trend. I think neutrals are going to play a big factor. I know I mentioned brights, but also like this neutral, like monochrome styling. Like I think we're seeing that with like the set dressing and like the matching cardigan bra top, but I think it's going to have a decent life. We'll see it into spring 21. I'm actually thinking even into fall as well, maybe like a sequin cardigan, sequin bra top look. That seems pretty cool to me. So we'll see.
Awesome. And Katie, is there anything you all started this year that you're excited to bring into the next year?
Well, it's a different style, but for sure we're continuing with our Zoom tops. And we are definitely going back to a lot of core pieces. So doing like layering. In February, we're going to be launching a set of layering tops. It's like a silk cotton turtleneck, crew neck tee and long sleeve crew neck top in 3 neutral shades, just sort of those like perfect base layers, that type of stuff. At this point, we're going to be launching pants with buttons, I think that, and zippers. We do expect people to be, not wearing leggings for the rest of their lives. So we have a couple of pants that are coming out that have, that are a little bit more dressy, which we're excited about. And we do hope that, they're welcomed to the assortment and to the line for sure.
Awesome. And Robin, what about you?
So I was really glad Sydney brought it up, but I think we've just seen across the board in a lot of different things that we've been pulling and styling, but monochromatic looks. It's actually my favorite, I think, just personal style choice right now. I think it makes it so easy to get dressed when you just open your closet and you kind of pick a color and you just pick, a few different items that fit into that color scheme. So we've been I would say seeing a lot of that product hit the stores right now, and that what we're photographing and sharing on social. And then touching on neutrals. I think that still is going to be, pretty popular. And then taking that leisure wear and just figuring out like, how can you wear this outside of the house, but with a little bit more of a polished or dressed up look. So I think that's just going to continue, just because, I mean, I would love to be able to be wearing like a leisure wear set and then just kind of throw on earrings and a jacket and a purse and then go into the office for a few hours.
Absolutely. And I used to wear like a brown shirt and brown pants in elementary school, and I had been looking back and cringing, but it kind of sounds like I was ahead of my time. So I appreciate the validation. We had a question ahead of time that someone submitted with their RSVP about workwear. And I think, Katie, we'll definitely start with you, but whether we think that workwear is going to kind of take a permanent shift towards being more casual, or if we think more traditional workwear is going to experience kind of a revival post-pandemic. Curious on your thoughts.
I think that is going to, I think that the world is getting more casual for sure, without a doubt. It will definitely vary by industry. And obviously the creative fields are more casual already. If you're working at a branding agency or, an architecture firm, you're probably more likely to be able to wear jeans and, more casual clothing on a daily basis. We're in Boston, it's a more conservative town. However, some of the big consulting agencies and consulting firms here have started going more casual. So I think that I think it's going to take time, but for sure, the world is getting more casual.
Awesome. And I'll pass it over to Sydney, and then Robin, we have a question from the audience for you, but Sydney, would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Katie. And I think that's kind of the trend that we're seeing right now on Rent the Runway as well. We do offer some wear to work inventory, and we have some suit sets, and we have some sheath dresses for wear to work, and they are popular, but I think we've really seen the rise in the blazer and just wearing that with like a tailored denim. And it does matter based on industry. I completely agree with that as well.
Awesome. Robin, we got a question. Do you use trends or seasonal predictions to anticipate the content that your clients will be asking for?
So we don't have any control over what the client is buying for their stores. So what we try to do is kind of look ahead when we're putting our social calendars together and think, what do we think that's in store right now will be trending in, 3 to 4 weeks still, because there is a time period where we have to collect the product, we have to shoot it, then you have to go, and from a social agency, you have to schedule that, create copy that goes alongside those, that creative. So for us, we have our clients working obviously months and months ahead to try and forecast and, determine what those trends are. Whereas we're kind of looking at it from more of like a shorter lead of like 3 to 4 weeks, because we're usually creating content like 3 weeks out.
Gotcha. That all makes sense. We got another question from the audience that I'll pass on to all of you. And why don't we start with Sydney? And the question is, I've been seeing more gender neutral or gender fluid dressing, and do we expect to see more of that in the coming year? Sydney, what do you think?
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think you can get your inspiration from all genders. And I think they're looking at influencers these days, it's really shifting into, many different aspects of dressing. So it's, whether you're more feminine or you have more of a masculine, energy with your trends, you'll see that for sure on Rent the Runway. And you can even like mix and match those trends too, which is really fun too.
Awesome. And Katie, for a traditionally, women's workwear company, has this impacted anything you all have done?
At Brass, we've always tried to be as inclusive as possible. We've, as a super small brand, we offer inclusive sizing, all of that type of stuff. So it, for sure, being able to, we're talking about it. we're certainly not doing a product assortment around that, just to be totally transparent. We're still very focused on our specific customer right now. But we're very aware of it happening in the market for sure.
Awesome. That makes sense. And Robin, have you seen any trends kind of among content that's created kind of around this more like gender neutral, gender fluid kind of, I would say, kind of prominence and that we're seeing more of both in fashion and on social media?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times when we're shooting product, we will try to pull products that, or just at least categories that are suited towards, all genders. I will say, we have to sometimes like look at our own social following and see what content people are engaging with. And, right now, like, currently our audience for Primark is very, very, very female focused. So while we still are slowly starting to incorporate some of that type of imagery and those trends, we also have to make sure that we're catering to our massive current audience. So it's a lot of testing and seeing what's doing well, what are people engaging with, and if people are engaging with that type of content, then we'll continue to make more of it.
Awesome. So we have a couple questions kind of just about your own personal styles as people who are kind of responsible for dressing and influencing others. I imagine you all take, your own sense of style kind of seriously. At least I feel like since I started Holdette, I've tried to at least a little bit more. Curious, as we do have a younger, more college and recent grad age audience, how your own personal senses of style have evolved over time, and is that because of outside influences? Is it because of trends? And how have you shaped that over time? And Robin, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, of course. So when I first graduated college, many of my jobs were in more corporate settings. So that really did, that really did steer me in a direction of just dressing in a more corporate style. So lots of, really cute suits or blazers or, dresses that I was really loving, lots of heels and, accessories that went with it. But over time, I feel like I started to work at agencies, or maybe this was just the, industry as a whole that just started to become more casual with our dress. Now I own my company, so I kind of determine like what our dress code is. And for me, I kind of look at my own life. I have a 2-year-old daughter. It is very difficult trying to get dressed in the morning. So again, like I still want to look stylish and I still want to feel really good about myself. So that's why I'm really leaning towards like this monochromatic way of dressing. I think it's just, for me, by far the easiest way to get dressed in the morning is I literally say, today I'm wearing gray, today I'm wearing blue. And I just open up my closet, I get dressed. It's so much faster to get dressed. And then my daughter's off at daycare and I go to work and then I still feel good when I go to work. I don't feel like I'm a mess.
Amazing. And it sounds like from these predicted trends that, that look will be copied by more people as the year goes on. Awesome. Sydney?
For my style, I'd say I've always kind of worked in these creative roles. So I've been able to, really experiment with fashion, especially since I've started working at Rent the Runway. I now have access to all these amazing trends and new designers that I normally wouldn't have. I would consider myself to be pretty trend focused, sometimes even a little bold with what I wear. I really just like to have fun with it. It's something that brings me so much joy. So I'd say over the years, my style has pretty much stayed the same, and I just kind of molded with the trends of the season, obviously sticking with my basics as well and making sure that I have like my core that I go to. But yeah, I'm a fan of bold style and accessorizing.
Amazing. And Katie?
So I think that I have, like, sort of, as I was saying in the beginning, but I've really focused on buying quality pieces. I very early on when I graduated from college would buy low price and sort of like churn through clothes more quickly. And I have really, placed an emphasis on buying more timeless style, things that can be in my wardrobe for a really long time. Sustainability is really important to me. And one of the things that I do to make sure that I am, being responsible with my purchases and making sure that I'm buying something that I'm comfortable wearing for several years. And then, utilizing something like Rent the Runway to where I want to like really play with trend. And I am a Rent the Runway customer actually.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So for sure, like when I'm buying pieces, I'm trying to invest in, high quality pieces. I also wear a lot of sets. At Brass, we've been working and making sets way before the athleisure sets like that people were wearing in 2020. I love them. It's very similar to the monochromatic like look that they're for the same reasons that Robin was talking about. My son is turning 1 next week. So this whole year has been a relearning process for dressing for me, from, being postpartum and not having clothes that fit to then figuring out like what it's like to work from home with a child that throws food at you. So there's just a lot to learn. But I think that, having those sort of like, go-to pieces that make you feel really good is really important, especially when you're, recovering from having a child.
Amazing. I love and appreciate the transparency. We had a question for Sydney, and I actually would love for everyone to answer this in their own way. But for Sydney, the question was like, what are some of the best ways for someone to get into the buyer role at Run the Runway or otherwise, kind of fresh out of college? What does that career path look like? And after Sydney shares, I love, Katie, how did you get into this founder role in I guess the short version? And Robin, how you started Wave Collective. But Sydney, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there isn't really a traditional way to go about it. You do not have to go to school for fashion. Obviously, it's a plus to have, that education as your background. I don't have that. So I went to school for tourism and hospitality, actually. I wanted to be an event planner, fun fact. But I actually found my way into fashion, and really the way to do that is just through networking. And I'm sure you've seen it before, but I would just start researching companies that really interest you, and then reach out to someone on LinkedIn and have a phone call and just say like, hey, can I ask you about your role? Or if there's an internship that you can apply for. And the more people that you know and the more people that you connect with, something will pan out. And just try to use your network and just be out there for sure. And, while doing that, also try to stay on top of the fashion world in general and what's going on in the news in fashion. And, get on Instagram and TikTok too, and just know what's happening in that world, so that when you speak to it, you're knowledgeable of the industry.
Awesome. And if you didn't tune into our workshop last month on how to expand your network from home, you can shoot us a message in our Slack community. We can hit you up with that link. Katie, advice for people who might one day want to be a founder, what skills should they be developing now?
I actually think it's the same. It's very similar. It is about reaching out and having conversations. If you're ever interested in starting your own business, I think that it's important to start a business where you're sort of scratching your own itch. And so to speak, I think that really understanding the customer's needs and wants by, being the customer, or at least being really close to someone who would be your customer, is really helpful, because it just allows you to sort of identify why you're doing what you're doing and who you're serving. So I think being really clear on those questions and then talking to people who've done it helps a lot.
Awesome. And Robin, how does someone get into the agency life?
I think it depends on what part of agency life you want to work in. My background started in public relations. I still do that now, but I would say a lot of my time now is spent on social media and creative for our clients. And then of course the influencer side. I would say if I was graduating or about to graduate this May, I would look at what is trending right now. How can I be an expert at it? And how can I pitch that to an agency the day that I graduate? So right now, I can tell you when we look to hire someone in May for, let's say, a role at our company, if you come to us and say, I am an absolute pro at making TikToks, I would hire that person very quickly, because that is something that we need help with. And, so if you're looking at what's trending while you're in college and you become really, really good at it, I just think that's like really the easiest way in the door, is just showing a skill set that you've become really good at. Oh no,
I really agree with that, Robin. I think Sarah's frozen, but I really agree with that piece of advice.
Yeah,
Awesome. We were frozen for a second, but I think we're back. Awesome. So we have time for just a few more questions. Curious what are the closet staples that you think everyone should have? And Katie, I feel like you're kind of an expert in closet staples, so I'll turn this to you first.
Sure. Definitely a great pair of jeans that don't have holes in them, and a nice pair of trousers. A blazer for sure. And I think like whatever top you prefer, blouses or, some sort of, whether it just be like a knit something, but tops that make you feel really great and pulled together. That I think those are, the blazer and the pants are really important.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily we can hook you up with those ones, Holdette.com.
Yeah.
Awesome. Robin.
I would say for me, and it's something that I always ask for my birthday every year or Christmas, is a really nice purse that you're really excited about. You use this purse or bag every single day when you go to work. I always tend to go with a larger size bag that will often fit my laptop, because I feel like, especially in this like remote and like coffee shop world, I'll go from my house to the office to a coffee shop to a client meeting. And I always just kind of feel like a little bit more of a badass if I have a purse that I really love that I am bringing with me to all of my meetings. And again, I think if you go in like a neutral tone, you can literally use this bag every single day.
Awesome. And Cindy.
So I completely agree with both of what you said, Katie and Robin. I think I was going to say denim. I think having really great pairs of denim in black and a blue wash, just so you're set, and they fit you well and you can just fall back on them whenever you need to. Also agreed with the blazer idea, because a blazer you can make it more formal, or you can make it more casual, depending on how you style it. And then the other piece that I really suggest, depending on what your style is, but investing in a really great leather jacket. I have one and I literally wear it every single year. It has not gone out of style yet. I think I've had it for like 3 or 4 years and I love it. So I think that's a good piece to own.
Big +1 to the leather jacket. If you knew me in college, I wore it. Amazing. Oh, okay. So I have one last question, but we had another question sneak into the chat for Robin. What brand do you recommend for that bag?
I've been really leaning towards Cuyana. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Cuyana. In Boston, they actually opened up a store on Newbury Street. I really love, they do this really nice gold monogram that they'll put into your bag. I actually have one right here. Sorry. It's a little one. You can like put your laptop and stuff in it. I think they're so classic. They hold up really well. And they look really professional. They have so many different styles. I feel like I'm an ambassador for them right now, but I have like 5 of their bags and I really do love them.
Well, I'm sure they would appreciate, the ambassador they got right there. Awesome. Okay, so last question, which I think is so fun, from Sue in the audience. What is your least favorite trend that has ever existed and why? And Cindy, why don't you start us off?
Okay, least favorite trend, even though I did wear this at some point, and I hear that it could be coming back, so let's pray it doesn't. Everyone, let's support each other here. The low-rise jeans. I just don't think we need them back. And I'm seeing some things, and I definitely wore them in high school during, my Abercrombie and Hollister days. But yeah, that's something that we could do without.
I think Everlane I just got an email which said that they've released their highest waistline jean ever. So if you want to kind of go the opposite way, it sounds
The
like
higher the better. Let's bring them up here. I love it.
awesome. Katie?
This might be controversial. This has never been my style. I'm not into the cold shoulder. I just don't like it.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I actually heard for TikTok that when you have content that's a little bit controversial, it does better. So that could be an opinion that you bring.
Okay. Well,
TikTok. Amazing. And Robin?
So I'm only saying this one because I fully embraced it while it took place. But I don't know if you guys remember that like J. Crew bauble necklace.
oh yeah.
Yes.
That like came out in every single color. There's like every single knockoff. Every single person and their grandmother was wearing it. And like, if I never have to see that necklace again, I will be very happy. But I only say that honestly, there's probably lots of trends that I hate and lots of trends that I love. But that was like the first one that came up because I think it's part of a meme right now. And so it was like the first one that came to mind.
Awesome. Well, I think we've, in the last hour covered the best upcoming and we just, got to the worst. So there you go. You got the full span. Thank you so much to our amazing panelists for joining us. I feel like I learned so much we're ready to tackle this year, at least style wise, one step at a time. Again, if you have not RSVP'd to the rest of our launch week events, we have 2 more coming up. Tomorrow is New Year's goal setting while the earth is on fire, and with several people who are in TikTok. So look at that tie-in. And then our Thursday panel is called Designed for Women by Women, and we're co-hosting that with Her Campus. So if you haven't checked those out, I would definitely encourage you to. As a reminder, you can find us on all social media platforms, including TikTok. Thank you to everyone who joined us, and thank you again to our panelists.